What is up, ladies and gents? We are back. I'm the Guitarist 562 and I do video game guides and walkthroughs. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys the PvP build Wand Dagger. So now that I have a lot more time to focus on these videos, because I'm completely done with PvP for the most part, I'm going to be able to show you why I made the decisions that I did for certain things. For example, in Wand Dagger, I'm going to be showing you the PvP builds for a lot of different builds. But we're going to start off with Wand Dagger, then, Wand Staff, all that. So for this build, it's not completely done yet, but I have 50 Strength, 50 Wisdom, and 60 Perception. And it's important because for a Wand user that doesn't have Staff, you're going to need your mana, because at least with the Staff build, you can have Inner Peace to get you your mana back. Now, the helmet is completely going to change. You could be whatever you want. It's going to be, you want it to be all tier 2. So it can be the Wraith Knight helmet, which is like back here at +9. So you get strength 4, dexterity 4, which is like 8 stats as opposed to only 6, as you can see here. But the reason I like this one so much is because you get 5% cooldown speed along with perception. Now let's look at the other stats. As you can see, my melee evasion is not that high. It looks like it, right? But when you switch over to daggers and you use the right mastery, I go up to 1005. So this build is still missing melee evasion right here. So I'll get an 80 right here. And I'm going to replace the endurance here for melee evasion as well. So that's another 80. So that's 160 in total. And I'm also missing it right here. So that's another 240. So 240 plus about 1,000, I'd be at like 1,200 melee evasion, which is really good. Now, it looks like I don't have a lot of ranged magic evasion, but there's a reason for that, because the dagger passives actually give you a good amount of evasion. As you can see, now that I'm taking PvP more serious, I'm at 1,400 on each stat. So, and on top of that, my cooldown speed is 22%. So the reason you want to go this route is because the breakpoints that you get are so good. For example, you get max HP, damage reduction, and heavy attack chance. So if you look down here, my heavy attack chance is only 216 because look, I need to fully trade out my weapons right here. But since these weren't my main weapons at the start of the game, they're not fully traded. So I'd get another 80 here or 60 price here and another 80. And I'm going to start feeding this blessings because I'm going to transfer this over to like, tier 2 weapons and stuff like that, because we still have that. It's in storage right now, but here's one of them. So if you transfer a +9 to a +6 tier 2 weapon, it'll instantly go to +9, which is very, very good. Now let's go over the build slowly. We'll have the Transcendent headpiece, but you can swap it out for the Wraith headpiece or your choice, whatever has like the most stats, because stats are really important in either strength or perception. I have the Hermit Shroud. I gotta max out the HP stats, but like it gives me 170 and 164 evasion on those two stats. The chest piece, I consider it one of the best chest pieces in the game. But if I could redo the build, I would probably go Wraith Helmet and Abyss chest piece, because the Abyss chest piece gives you, I think, 8 or 9 stat points on this side. And again, the heavy attack chance is just good for PvP. Sacred Vanquisher gloves, I have melee endurance. I'm going to rip that off and I'm going to put range on it, because once I switch to a tier 2 wand, it's going to have 18 meters instead of, let's see, what is it at? 14 meters. So, and then on top of that, you have range. You'll have probably like 19 or 20 meters, which is really good, because that way you can target the back line and not get so close, because being 14 meters is just, it's a headache. Even with this ring here that gives me an extra 5.7% range, because if you look at perception here, it also gives you 7.5% range right here. So Dexterity 4, Wisdom 4, and Critical Hit. So these are giving me really important substats. Unfortunately, Dexterity doesn't really do too much for me. I mean, it does give you crit, but unless you reach these breakpoints, it's kind of like a hit or miss. But even though it's not all the way up there to slow down, look at my Critical Hit. It's 945, even though my stuff is extremely low on Dexterity, because when you look into your dagger passives right here, it says Assassin's Instinct. Once I get this to +5, I'm getting an extra 290 critical hit. And if I wanted to be extra toxic, you can poison your targets and you get an extra amount of crit off of this skill right here. Range critical hit 274 on poison targets, which I'm going to get around to and explain why that's important as well. So let's see. you really need to realize which passives affect your overall stats based off what you're main handing. So that's why you have to be very careful on which you have open right here. So now let's go down the list a little bit more. So the legs, again, one of the best legs in the game, mainly because unlike the Black Line Gators, look at the stats that you get here. Strength 5, melee evasion 150, and ranged evasion 140. So let's go ahead and look at the tier 1 pants that most people used to run before they switched over. Hold on, it's gonna be right here because you can only see the traits on there, and I believe it comes out in Temple of Slaughter. Yep, you only get melee evasion and DR. DR is really important too, and I'm gonna make a separate video on that as well. But once I get this completely maxed out, I'll have another 80 ranged evasion here, and I think that's it because everything's maxed out for the most part. But that's going to be really good because ranged evasion is huge. But my only criticism to this build is the fact that I would prefer to use like the 4-piece wing set if I was using like longbow staff, because when you have one build that focuses on only 2 of the substats, you can reach higher evasion substats like 1700, 1800, etc, etc. Because look, 1435 right here, but now just imagine, let's see, what is that, 1435 on ranged. So 1435 plus 80 here and plus another 80 here, so that's 160. 1435 plus 160, 15, 1600, around there, more or less. So that's why it's important that, okay, 160 actually plus the, let's see, hold on, let's slow down. 80 here, and then 160 here. So 80 plus 160 is 240. 240 plus 160 equals 300. All right, so there you go, 300. Oh, and since we're moving magic evasion here, 300 plus 160 is 460. So add 460 to the end result of this roll, 460. So that would put me around 1800 evasion. But the downside is I will not have much magic evasion, but there's nothing wrong with that, because if you really want to maximize who you're fighting, you really want to have those numbers, because I've noticed that with 1500 across the board on certain classes, it's just really hard to fight certain classes. Like for example, like melee, unless you have like 1700 melee evasion, or I would say it's just really hard because they're constantly hitting you, because they can build up to like 1600, 1700. For ranged though, I mean, the argument may be, oh well, ranged and magic, they don't get their hit up that high. I mean, they can get up to 1200 to 1300, sure, but depending on how they build, they might prioritize certain pieces on the PvP market. May or may not, again, this is completely subjective, but certain pieces in the PvP market give you hit. If you want to not have the Beast King Gilded Bracers, you could go and opt in for this bracer right here, which is in, I believe, Carmine. Like you can get hit right here, and I think the belt, let me double check. I have to check. Let's see. No, it's not. It's none of these. Is it one of these? Perception? Nah. Let's keep looking. Okay, this one's pretty good, but no, that's not the one. But more or less, you get the idea. The idea is you want to build a certain amount of evasion, so that way when you're fighting people, you can actually live through the hits. And for the Wand Dagger, the most important thing is you want to have your stacks up. I mean, you can go like this and start just attacking, but then like you miss out on that extra 100 evasion that you get from the, you know, dagger passive. So like, the main thing for this build is, and if you want to add more poison, is you do damage over time. So as you can see, I have that. Put it to sleep. And then look. 22,837. And then that may not seem like a lot, but most people that are not a tank only have around 15, if they're geared, 15 to 16,000 HP. Most people, like, look at this. Let's see. Geezy, yeah, he's a tank. He's hard to kill already. 11k right here. And if you were to look at anybody else, like, you know, going down the line, depending on how much HP that they have, it's going to be the same stuff. Let's see. Uh, but yeah, no, PvP in this game is a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and look at the weapon mastery next. So the reason why I rock this is because look, if you have weapon 12 mastery, you can get stuff on 2 different parts. You can get critical damage here, cooldown, critical hit, and stuff like that. But look at this. This is the reason why I rock the Dagger passive, because it gives you everything Evasion 105. Everything else, debuff duration is really good too. Mana cost efficiency and cooldown is really good too. Let's see. But that's pretty much it. Oh, and I guess you can go 6 and 6 right here, so you can have a higher chance for silence. But I know some people prefer the extra damage because silencing people is pretty good. But that's pretty much just an entry level video to Wand Dagger. I'll do some more PvP plays with this build so that way you guys can see for yourself what it looks like. But the last couple things you want to get for this build is the Titan's Bloodless Belt, get debuff duration, skill damage resistance all the way max HP to 600 because HP definitely makes a difference. Transcendent Magic Ring. This one is entirely your choice, but I prefer it because of the range, the wisdom, and the perception. This is entirely subjective what you want, but I like it because perception makes it easier to get certain stats. Like I said, the 60s. You're not going to be able to get these breakpoints unless you rock this specific build, and the Slaughter's Collar. Now, the reason I rock the Slaughter's Collar is good for PvE and PvP because look at the difference between that collar and this, you know, fully traded out Abyss Conqueror's necklace. I only have 1 extra stat point and mana regen. It's not that big of a deal, and for NA release, you get this for free from your lithograph. So let's see. Auction house. No, sorry. Lithograph. Type in Slaughter and you can get it right here. Slaughter's Collar. By turning in 4 necklaces, you get it for free. So there's no reason you should struggle getting that. And on top of that, once you do more content, you can get free trait unlocks. And I've already showed you how that works. You can go to the trait right here and you could convert whatever trait you want by spending these trait unlock stones. So it's going to be very easy to get. But unfortunately, there's no PvP event right now. But hopefully this video was extremely informative for you guys. The only thing I missed, I guess, is what do I rock for the wand? Right here. This is what I rock for wand. So I guess if I know I'm going to be sleeping somebody, I'll switch back to the wand and then throw in another curse. So that's the last quick little bit of information. Because look, that said 13 seconds, right? Let's go back to the dagger now. Let's double check. No, I'm tripping. It doesn't matter what you have, as it uses the weapon mastery of a specific weapon. But it's a good thing I confirmed that. But look at that. Boom. Hold up. Right here. Put it to sleep. 23,000. And again, I am not fully geared. This is not fully traded. It's only +9. To go ahead and look at the skills again once more. This needs to be +5 for future reference. This needs to be +5. This needs to be +5. This needs to be +5 because these are your main stuff. Your sleep definitely should be +5 as well because look at the stuff that you get. The sleep duration lasts 6 seconds and most people have debuff duration, which definitely messes up your entire stuff. So as far as the passives go, these are the ones that I'm using right here. Actually, I don't need Vampiric Contract. I can actually put something else. Where is it? I could use like Wrathful Edge or whatever. But everything else is pretty much useful. Increased mana regen. Skill heal is really good. Skill heal 30% and skill cooldown 10%, which is really good. Wraith's Beckon. Increase the duration of your curses by 2.7 seconds. Now look at that. That's another passive that's extremely important to get up because like you can increase it to 3.3 seconds, so that's 0.6 more. And again, every bit of damage that you do is because it's done in an instant. Like if I were to explode it right now, it wouldn't be anything. Like only 1 curse, it doesn't do anything. Like watch, I'm gonna wait for that curse to go away. I'm gonna go here so you can see the difference. Curse, sleep, around 17k. Obviously you want to explode it at the start of the explosion, at the start of the curse. So that's the only thing I did wrong there, but just to show you guys the difference. So we're gonna go again once it's off cooldown, and then that way you guys can see how your curses influence your total damage output. So he needs to be asleep. So I'll sleep him first. Oh, what the flup? That's a dude. Sorry, Gertrude. Look at that, 4K. Not a lot. Alright. So we're going to do it again, but this time with 2 curses. Alright, here we go. Let's see. 10 more seconds and I can do this to show you guys. But again, this is just one possible build. The reason I use the poison is just to add more damage over time stacks. But otherwise, for sleep bombing, you'd want to have Karmic Haze, and let's see, and probably Ankle Strike. Because the reason you have Ankle Strike is once you silence somebody, you can continue your combo by kicking them onto the ground. So that way you have more time to do damage to them while they're silenced and stunned. You know, but it depends on what you're doing for large scale. This is probably like the build you would probably be doing because you want to sleep bomb. So let's go ahead. Curse, sleep. Let's see. One more. 15k. Look at that. Boom. That's not that bad. So that's only with 2 curses. Remind you, I removed the poison stacks. So we're going to do this last time, but that way you can see the difference with 3 curses. So the proper thing to do is to do 3 curses, and that way you can do as much damage as possible. So if you want to go for the Wand Dagger build, and again, it's a lot of fun doing this build because, like I said, look at how much evasion I have. It's going to be really hard for people to hit me if you have that high of a substat. Let's see. So Curse, Sleep, Corrupted Magic Circle. All right. And then I'll do one more. Is he even asleep? No, he's not. See, I messed up the whole rotation right there. You have to make sure it's asleep because let me read it to you right there. It says sleep. All damage over time on a sleeping target plus 100%. And that's why it's super dangerous. But let me read this to you as well. Weakens the target and has an 80% chance to spread the curse from the main target to up to 3 other targets within a 5-meter range. So definitely do that because it's very useful for large scale. And the fact that you have it plus 5 means you can use Karmic Haze much more quickly. So let's go again. 1 curse. Second curse. I'll put it to sleep. $19k. So it went from 4k to 15k to 19k. And you got to remember, I'm not using poison stacks either. And the damage that's really coming from is this, is the 2-piece. Skill damage over time, 20% more because of the 2-piece. So this build gives me more magic evasion than ranged evasion, but it works. I got extra ranged evasion because of these pants right here though, because if I could, like I said, if I could redo the build, I'd either go longbow staff and then just do 4-piece so that way I can just focus on one set. That way I can for sure fight 2 classes. Hold on. Oh, let's just test it out right here. I missed. He's obviously gonna let me hit him right here. Go hidden. There you go. I can't do nothing with the build for the most part until I sleep him, but I'll just kill him here. Jesus, bro, you have so much evasion, Asu. And that's pretty much it for fighting someone who's geared. Asu definitely, I couldn't touch him. He had too much, he has 2k evasion, so sleeping him was nearly impossible. But look at the difference between fighting this guy right here. This guy here has less evasion, so it was easy for me to sleep and basically sleep bomb him. Here, I did the same thing. I wasn't able to sleep him right away and kill him. I just ended up doing enough damage over time. But the beautiful thing about Wand Dagger is you have so much sustain because you could just heal yourself, but they can't. Especially, this is why I want 3v3s, because it's much more fun and more engaging than Zergs. But But here I do the setup. As you can see, I have 1 curse on him right now, 2 curses now. I'm gonna poison it, 3 curses, and just exploded. 16k damage, completely done. 2k evasion. But yeah, and like to give you an idea of why that's an issue is like if I don't have hit maxed out here, I'm missing 80 hit, and on top of that, this rotating muffin gives me another 90. So my hit, unfortunately, is only at, let's say, 700 plus another 200. I'd be at 900. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, guys, stay blessed.